guys are going to wear down. That happens, obviously. Everybody's wore down. But it should give us some time and an opportunity to heal and be ready.
You mentioned all the things you'll do this week. Will you take time to scoreboard watch on Saturday at all, given the fact that you all still need some help to potentially get back in the conference race?
No. Well, don't pay attention to that. Worry about what you can control, which we can. We can get better academically. We can practice some young kids. We can give guys time to heal up. What kind of an impact are we going to make for some of the games that are played on Saturday? I may be a fan and watch a couple games, but I'm not going to be dissecting it and cheering loudly or any of that. Doesn't worry. You worry about what you can control, which the only thing we can control is playing the next game, and then if things fall into place, then we're happy. Obviously, if the only way that will work out is if we win the next 2 games, and if we win the next 2 games, we're in position, then that's great. If we don't, then it's probably not going to matter.
Gino obviously has picked up your system and done pretty well, but I'm sure there's some areas you'd like to see him improve with in time. What areas does he need to grow in?
All areas he needs to get better at, which, really looking forward to the offseason on honing in on some of the things that he really needs to get better at, which that's more off-season stuff. The immediate thing is ball security. He's still a little careless with the ball. He's making really good decisions throwing the ball from the ball in your hand aspect. When he's getting out of the pocket and trying to keep things alive, he's not doing a very good job. And the ball came out of his hands probably 2 times last week. He didn't turn the ball over, but he put the ball on the ground a couple of times. So right now, if there's one thing we could say, don't do it again, obviously it's that. I mean, we didn't play very good offensively, but we did win the turnover battle. And defensively, we created a couple of turnovers, which was the difference in the game.
Because of field goals and punting, have we missed coverage and return teams? They seem like they've gotten a lot better and played fairly well.
Yeah, the kickoff team was tremendous. I mean, and that's the thing about special teams is if it doesn't look good, everybody complains about it. And if it looks like it's supposed to look, everybody ignores it. You go back to when things didn't look good on the kickoff team. That's all everybody wanted to talk about. And now that it looks good, nobody wants to talk about it. I give those guys a bunch of credit. The effort's good. We're getting good bodies on there. Due to injuries, we had about 4 guys step up. Matt Morrow stepped up, Willie Millhouse stepped up, Donovan Miles stepped up, Broderick Jenkins stepped up on special teams due to the fact that we had people out, and they played well. And that's been one of the themes that I've been trying to get through to them all year is, guys that are second teamers or, it doesn't matter if you're scholarship or not, but guys that are second teamers, third teamers, whether you're receiver, running back, safety, linebacker, whatever you are, you got to figure out a way to help the team. And some of those second teamers and third teamers hadn't been doing anything to help the team. So had some guys step up and help the team, which was critical.
When you're out recruiting now, just moving to a new conference, if it's next year or the year after, whatever it turns out to be, does it change the message dramatically, or is it more just about the program?
I think it will eventually. It's tough. It's tough now because it's just talk. Which obviously we're going to be headed there at some point. Still don't know when. That hasn't been out yet. So whether it's next year, the next year, the next year, I mean, what do you tell them? It's the same stuff. Plus, the challenges of being in the Big 12, which I already know what they are from a recruiting standpoint, facility standpoint, all the rest of it. I mean, that's going to take time to make a difference. So ask me that 5 years from now, and I'll probably have a lot better answer for you.
Do you think you're going to be, with the move to the Big 12, do you think you're going to be changing the areas of the country that you're recruiting right now? Is that going to change once the move to the Big 12 is made?
I don't think so, not too much. We're already kind of expanded out into Texas some, which, you know, where we're at from a geographical standpoint, I mean, you still got to take care of your backyard, you know, which are the neighboring states and whatever exists here in West Virginia. Obviously, you got to make sure that you're taking care of this area. And then Florida's been really good to us, so we'll continue to go down there. You know, you're still playing, you know, 7 of your 12 games here. So those 7 games don't change. And then whoever you play non-conference is probably going to be somewhere close. So you're only talking about 4 games a year to where you're going to be going probably a little farther distance. You know, so you don't want to go, you know, and get specifically people for those games. You take care of what you have here, which is what's made West Virginia a great program, is the neighboring states and Florida. So you got to make sure you continue to do that, and then we'll branch out into Texas, which we already have.
Coach, with the way the standings are now, with 2 games to go, you could finish anywhere from first to last place in the conference. Have you ever been in a situation where they've been so clumped together this late in the season?
No, I haven't. It's the same thing that we talked about at the Big East Media Days too. You know, pick 1st through 8th. You know, you could probably flip it, and it's probably happened like that for you know, the previous 10 years. You know, and that's the reason everybody was wanting to talk about it. You know, is because that's what reality's been for the last 10 years. So, you know, the more things change, the more they probably stay the same.
You mentioned earlier that the offense was maybe a little slower than it's been in the past at Oklahoma State or at Houston. Do you feel that there were too high expectations put on what you guys were going to be able to do? I mean, considering how quickly you had to pull everything together and like you said, install a brand new system with guys who haven't done it.
I don't know. Somebody else can answer that, but we have our own expectations, and it's about improvement. You know, we're piecing it together the best that we can, and we're trying to put ourselves in position to be successful every series, every game. You know, so we'll continue to try to get a little better at what we're trying to do. Again, it's not about what the yardage is. It's not about what the, you know, what the outside looking in is from a, you know, passing yardage, rushing yard. It's about being more efficient than you know, staying out on the field and 3rd downs being good. We were horrible on 3rd down because, again, we were in 3rd and long situations 90% of the time. Which, you know, there's a reason Cincinnati leads the nation in negative yards per game. I mean, they got 8 to 9 negative plays per game defensively. I mean, that's tremendous, you know, and they did it to us. I mean, we had numbers to run the ball, and we ran the ball, and we lost 4 yards. It just, what do you say about that? I mean, you got to give them some credit for that. So they got a bunch of negative plays on us. They sacked us 5 times without blitzing. They, you know, got us in those long yardage situations, and we had to punt, you know, but we punted well, relatively well, which means we flipped the field. We didn't turn the ball over, and that was enough to win.
Do you think the offensive line played well, considering Cincinnati's defensive line with Wolf and talented guys they have over there? Can you assess that a little bit, especially Quentin Spain getting some playing time?
None of them played good enough to win, and we'll leave it at that, and that they need to get better.
How much have you been able to see out of Pitt then? I mean, they've got a defensive line that's obviously having a lot of success and potential, I guess, to do the same thing against you guys. They're getting a lot of pressure and a lot of times just sending 3 guys.
Yeah. Well, it means we gotta get better. I mean, we sat in here and dealt with what Syracuse did against us, and you know, they did all these crazy blitzes, and they brought more people than we can block and all that stuff. Well, just the opposite happened against Cincinnati. They didn't bring any pressure, and it still was challenging. You know, so we got to get better. We got to block better. We got to finish blocks better. We got to find a bunch more guys to come in here and do it better than the ones we got. So are we calling them out? Yeah, we're challenging them. You know, we love them. We want them to get better, and we're going to work hard with them, and we're going to get them healed up, and we're going to put them in possession to be successful. But at some point, they gotta get it done.
You guys getting healthy and everything. Julian Miller, the last couple games, has that been a matter of him getting healthy? Have these been some of his better games?
Yeah, he's responded. Yeah, he's responded, which we're not very deep on the D-line, but those guys have responded and played well, played hard, played well. Julian, I think he's got, what, 3 fumble recoveries now, and maybe he's lucky. Maybe it's not his talent, which he is talented. Maybe it's not his talent and his effort, but maybe he's lucky because he's in the right spot at the right time. I don't know. I'm proud of him. He's doing well.
Yeah, some of your penalties, I don't know if this is anything, but you talked about playing with so much effort and energy and holding penalties. I think there was personal fouls, stuff like that. You're playing with a lot of that, and sometimes it's hard to rein it in. Is the next thing figuring out sustaining that, but not making it negative?
Yeah, I agree. You know, I don't know what our biggest penalty total was prior to Saturday, but it wasn't 15. And I think they declined a few. And we dissected each one of them, and you know, it's some of it's playing on the edge a little bit, which we wanted them to play on the edge, and we encouraged them to play on the edge, and I think that was the difference in us being able to win and not, is just due to we cut it loose, and we played on the edge out of control just a little bit, which I think you need to, which increased our energy level and our excitement level. You got to be able to control that, which a few of the times that we got flagged was a result of that. You know, a lot of the other things were you know, holding calls. That's just bad technique, which, you know, there's no difference in having bad technique and getting a holding call or having bad technique and getting beat. It's the same thing. It's technique, and if you're getting whipped, then your only chance is by playing with 100% proper technique. So we were getting whipped and we lost our technique, which means it's equally as bad.
And how about the delay of game penalties on a punt team? They can be eliminated, can't they?
Yeah, that's communication. I take responsibility for that. That's just communication on the sidelines, which you know, I thought we've done pretty good with that this year. You know, you got to understand the dynamics of who's coaching what and who's making decisions and where the proper communication comes from. Coach Dunlap's upstairs, which he's got to rely on people on the field to get it communicated, and you also got to rely on like Coach Roberts, who's talking to him. He's down here trying to talk to him, getting the call, and he's trying to talk to me, trying to figure out what the decision is. You know, so sometimes I'm trying to make a decision, and then we try to do it and get them out there and we're too late. That's 100% on me, and we'll make sure that we get that tightened up. Sometimes, you know, there's been a couple of times where we've taken it on purpose, just because you don't want to rush out there and make a bad decision or rush it to the point to where you don't execute it properly. So, you know, some of it's making decisions, some of it's communication. You know, some of it's our headsets were not in the right spot at the right time, or the button wasn't pushed properly. I mean, there's all kinds of dynamics. They're all excuses, and nobody likes them, and I'm actually kind of mad at myself for talking about them. But ultimately, it's on me, and we'll get it fixed.